People on average pick up their phones 58 times in a day and spend around 3 hours 15 minutes every day on their phones. Now that's the average among all demographics. If we double down on teens only, their screen times often goes up to 8 to 9 hours a day. That's more than 35% of a day and more than 50% of the time they are awake. Something is definitely not right here, but exactly what is at stake? It is obviously eating up some valuable time which can be used in some other way, but it should be fine as long as it's fun, I guess. I've been thinking about this for quite some days, and the idea that I came up with says the main thing that has been affected is our creativity. As educational scholar and creativity researcher K.H. Kim has discovered, students' performance on the most reliable measure of creativity, the Torrance test, has declined more than a full standard deviation in a generation. Now that is 80% of today's children who are less creative than their counterparts from 1980s. Kim refers to a creativity crisis in American culture, and she attributes it to the following suspects. Childhoods with insufficient free play and unstructured time, coupled with proliferation of standardized tests and increasingly narrow academic goals. Given that young children learn about the world through deep human attachments and physical exploration, it's hard to imagine that heavy exposure to smartphone hasn't played a significant role in this. Now about this, let me give you an analogy. The way we consume content is similar to the way we consume food. Everyone is born with a functional kitchen where they make their own meal every day, get creative with cooking, learn new recipes from others, and explore new types of dishes and diets. Now our smartphone is a fridge, rather a magic fridge full of delicious foods. It has everything from veggies to chocolate, from paneer to pastry, from chicken biryani to pulao. Everything you want to eat is in that fridge, and here's the catch about this fridge. It never runs out of anything. Now opening the fridge is way easier than lighting a gas, preparing ingredients, and actually cooking something for yourself. As humans, we naturally pick the path of least resistance and keep opening the fridge over and over again to have our favorite foods and almost never make use of the kitchen. And through this repetition, after enough time, the kitchen becomes dusty, the utensils keep gathering on rust, and the fridge keeps working. It never stops working. It gradually grows on you, and an average human opens the fridge door 58 times a day. And just in case you have been lost in the thought of a magical fridge and hasn't been paying attention, I'll give a short description that the kitchen is your creative center of your mind and the fridge is your phone, or to be specific, anything you consume any kind of media from. While the curse of a magic fridge has been sold over the years with the label of a blessing and of a revolution, we kept buying into it and it has been growing on us ever since. According to K.H. Kim, a lot of different aspects played a role in the steep decline of the creativity. For example, high stakes set by parents to score good, obeying rules set up by the society, losing curiosity, avoiding taking risks, and far from ideal educational system. And obviously the rise of the average use of smartphone has a part to play. Now what you see on screen right now is an approx estimate of a graph that shows how the amount of out-of-the-box thinking has declined over the last few decades. And if you look at this closely, you can clearly see that it went really downhill at around 2007 to 2008. And when did the iPhone launch? Wild guesses? It was June 2017. It was for the first time that people had a content machine, an unlimited content machine, or as I called, a magic fridge in their hands that can fit into their pocket, that they can carry anywhere they want it. This whole behavior through years has also taken a toll on our concentration span. Like while you're watching a YouTube video, there are other videos just beside it asking to be watched, and it's almost always too tempting not to click on them. And it's almost too ironic that how we are getting distracted from one distraction to another distraction. We can't really focus on one distraction fully either. And that is really sad. This loss in concentration span is also strategically used by all the major social media apps. Small bite-sized contents like TikToks aren't new. YouTube and Instagram has taken the same route through YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels respectively. Smaller contents like this really feel harmless because they take so little time, but they keep us glued to our screen for so long. Okay, so now let's take a step back and think about what can be done about it. How can we fix it? Firstly, it won't be easy because we have been practicing the same thing for years now. Some of us often notice the dysfunctional kitchen whenever we close the door of the fridge and think about how fun it used to be to experiment with cooking. But it's been so long, we have already forgotten how to cook simple dishes. I also walked by my kitchen a few weeks back and the whole idea popped into my head. Now suppose one day the magic of the fridge stopped working and food didn't respawn after you eat them. Now there was only one way. No matter how, you'll clean up your kitchen, polish your utensils and your cooking skills and start cooking for yourself once again. And you'll realize how cooking was actually more fulfilling than eating the food itself. Now I suppose some of you are really confused about the whole fridge versus kitchen analogy. Let me boil it down to practical words for you so you can understand it better. As humans, we crave content and emotion. Now it can be through music, movies, photos, videos, or hanging out with your friends even. Now this craving of content and emotion is extremely strong and it is generally fulfilled by the content we consume from our phones. Now if you're always filled to the brim with content, you are never craving for anything, you are never hungry. And if you're not hungry, you will not cook for yourself. You never will. But what if we could create a void inside ourselves, a void of content, a void of emotions? Then suddenly we will start pulling out those paintbrushes. We'll start pulling out the pencils, the typewriters, the guitars, the code editors and the cameras and create something of our own. I don't know about you, but I certainly feel the most immense amount of joy when I create something of my own. So that was about it for this video. Just an idea I had about overconsumption of content and how it's damaging our creative muscle. Now what you do with this idea is totally up to you. I'll suggest that you take this video as a reminder to be more mindful about your time and what you're doing in that time and what brings more value to your life. Alright, that'll be it. Leave a like if you like the video and feel free to leave a dislike if you think this was a complete waste of time, and hit the subscribe button if you are a good person. And I hope you're doing fine and so is your family. Stay home, stay safe and never stop fighting for what makes you feel alive. That'll be it from me. Goodbye. See you soon.